It finally came in. This SmallRig cage. Got it right here. Let's check it out, put it together, and build it. Get it opened up here. Wow. Oh, it doesn't pull out easy. Let's grab that. Got my overhead camera going here. And I'll hold it up here as well. We built the newer cage before. Now here's the SmallRig cage. Now if you remember, I already had the SmallRig case that I've been using. So this SmallRig cage is supposed to work with the case. So let's see how that works out. And it has this bumper, they call it. It's basically a second case that's transparent in the back. So if you want to hook a fan or anything, it'll keep your fan cooler instead of having the MagSafe area on the back. But this MagSafe area on the back is very strong. Okay, so there we have it. It comes in this nice box. This tray like pulls out. The case, the cage, and everything is in there. The bumper. Got some instructions. Let's toss this aside. And here's the cage. Show you the cage up here. A little bit different than the newer cage we tried out. And one of the advantages of this cage, supposedly, is I'm supposed to be able to fit my whole iPhone 17 Pro Max that's inside the SmallRig case into the cage without needing to take my cell phone out. So let's see how that works. You see there's a little button right here that says press. So I can press. That when you press this, where it says press, you can lock or unlock this for putting your cell phone into it. So I'm going to unlock it. And there's a ridge. Let me show you that. There's a ridge right here. Maybe you could see through here. See this ridge that the phone will push into. It presses in quite tight. It fits in there. And then you press this down, and that locks it in. So if you press that, that pops it up. Press this in, it locks it into the cage. So there you go. And your buttons work. That's pretty interesting. Now, the bumper, I don't need the bumper. Well, I'm not going to use the bumper. But you could use the bumper, and it has these extra parts to go with the bumper. These are your different plates, your 17 millimeter, and your other type of mounts that can go onto the bumper, which I have that already on here. And also what came in was my ND filter, or my filter adapter, that can go on here as well. Now, what I like about this is the stand, or the case, actually has a built-in stand. So you could set your phone up on it different ways, like that. I'll show that up here as well. Got a stand that comes out. So you can stand the phone up for different directions. at different angles. Oops. The stand does push a little bit further over. It tips over pretty easy. I see that now when you have the phone in the cage. You got to bring it out quite far to get an angle, but that's not too bad. Now to switch to the filter adapter, so I can put an ND filter on, you're just going to grab this, pull this back out. This has these little grooves, on it. It's going to lay in here. It's got a magnetic feel to it too, so you got to get this just right, which is not so easy. Where is it? There we go. And then that just pushes on like that. So then you've got your filter adapter on there. Now let's put an ND filter on there and see how well that works. Okay, before I can put the ND filter on, because this is magnetic, this is a magnetic ND filter. My ND filters are aluminum, so they're not magnetic, but I bought this adapter ring that screws on to my ND filter. Let's screw that on. So that goes on like this. Now I have this metal piece on here that will be magnetically attracted to the magnetic points on the filter adapter. So now I should be able to just clamp it on just like that. Just like magic. Magnetic. But it's not very strong, as you can see. I can't even pull my cap off. So I got to pull my cap off here. I'll put it back on. You can probably hear that click. Okay. But it is strong enough to hold it on there. It's not falling off. But there is one problem. And I'll show you that up close. Now I want to open and close my variable ND filter. So I go like this and this. Wait a minute, what's happening here? What's going on? Well, the ND filter is just rotating inside the magnetic area. So it's not actually turning. The filter, it's just moving within the area. So I have to basically hold on to the back of the filter to be able to operate my ND filter. And that, it pushes, your fingers can push it right off quite easily. So that's a bit of a pain if you are going to use an adapter like I have here, so you can use the magnetic system. So let's see what else we have here. Let's put a media device on. We'll put the Lexar media device on next. Basically, build this whole kit out. Okay, you're looking at this at the same time I am, because I just opened it up, just got it in. So I've got to figure out where's a good mounting point. It looks like it has a mounting point right here. It's got screw-in points here, screw-in points over here, more screw-in points underneath. There's also a hot shoe point right there, but if you're going to have your ND filter on, that's pretty much going to block that. So I'm going to try to use this point right here. And we're going to mount this media hub onto there. Okay, we'll aim it down like this. Huh. Now, the newer cage had a little ball in there that kind of locked it in. This does not have that. So it doesn't lock in as easy. Let me try that again. You've got to really tighten this down on there. To get it to lock in. So there I have it. It doesn't have really a locking thing where you push it on and you feel it kind of lock into a place. You've got to tighten this down a lot. And then we would plug into the side here, and it looks like we have plenty of space. Or do I? Yeah, that's in there. So there we go. Okay, I've got my Ulanzi mount that I like to use. And we're going to try to mount this over here. Yeah, that looks like it's... Well, if I mount it on this one screw hole, it's going to be too close to this button. So I'm going to have to mount it on the further screw hole. Mounting point, whatever you want to call it here. Okay, I've got that mounted. My tripod mount. Now, what about a handle? For a handle, I actually bought this universal handle from Newer that allows you to hook it to multiple different cages. At least it says that. So we're going to try that and see if that works. And this one has the button so you could trigger for photography, taking pictures, or trigger to start your recording. And it has another shoe mount right here where you could mount something like this into it. Okay, so I'm trying to mount the handle, the Newer handle, onto the SmallRig cage. And in the Newer advertisement, when I bought this, it says it was universal and that it will fit a SmallRig cage. Now they give you two parts. This one part, I'm not sure if you can even see this in this video. It has little extra pins. So when the extra pins are there, it prevents it from rotating from side to side. Now that works well in a Newer cage, but it does not work on this cage. Well, no. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a slight gap. The pin doesn't push in all the way. And if you move it to the next spot up, the pins hit and block you from tightening it down all the way. I don't know if you can see that. So that one doesn't work. So then they give you another one that does not have the extra little pins. And this has little grooves. Let me see, you should be able to see it like that. That each one of these grooves is supposed to go on each side of the SmallRig cage. But this cage apparently is a little bit wider than when they made this and said it fit on everything, because it does not fit all the way either. I'll put this in here. I mean, it does hold it. It does hold it on there, so it doesn't twist. And in the handle, it has a tool that pops out, so you can even tighten it a little bit more. Oops, taking pictures here. And then I need to mount the handle parts onto the screws here, apparently. Let's do that. This little part went flying off. We got it. Okay, I think I got them going. Let's lay this flatter down here so you can see a little bit better. You see it if you looked at my video on the newer cage. After I put the handle in and had my tripod mount on, I was able to move it in such a way that the whole rig would be able to stand up by being, level. And that's going to be the same thing here. I will tighten this down in such a way that it will be level. And this stands up by itself. Bring it up top here. Nice grip. This is actually a very firm, thicker grip than the other grip that I got for the newer cage. And even though this is a newer grip, but it doesn't rotate. This grip does not rotate, so you can't do that. But I'm finding that I don't really probably need that. Now I can take my magnetic mount. Let me get that set. And this, let me show you up here again. Because this case has its own magnetic area, this is much stronger than just the back of the cell phone by itself. I mean, this locks in there. You have to yank it off. It's very strong. So now I could be shooting just like this. Now this does hit right here, I noticed. On the newer cage, when I had this on there, I was able to move it a little bit further over, it seemed like, where this wasn't hitting. Maybe I could bend this up some if I wanted there. Yeah. But it actually is in the way for holding it straight. I can't bend it down right here because it's hitting. On the newer cage, I was able to do that. That's kind of bizarre. I'd have to bend it a little bit past it, so it's hitting it right here. And then I could hold it like that. So I could be shooting like that. Or bend this back up just past the tripod mount. like that. Or I can take that off and be shooting like this. Let's get the other parts and finish it on out. Okay, I've got parts laying all over the place here. I went and got my little microphone set up, my Hollyland microphone, and my little Samsung SSD card. Now, in the other videos I've shown, I was using a 512. This is a 128, a little bit smaller, and that gives you tons of space to record in. So on this setup, we would, let me see, push this in right here. No, wait a minute. We'd push this in up top because this actually doesn't fit. That's one thing about the little SSD. There's a little slot here that's got a groove. It's set back in. This does not fit that well in there because these edges hit, which is no problem because you could use the top mount right in here. So there's that. Then we'll get our little microphone, and that has a much longer stem, so that will fit right into here. Just like that. Bingo. Oops, let's turn it around the other way, because you can see it light up. There, and it's lit up. So that's my whole setup. Got my wireless mic, my mini SSD thumb drive, my media hub plugged into the camera, got my ND filter ready to go here, and that's magnetic. So if you did buy magnetic filters, they would go on quick and easy. And then I've got multiple different lenses I could put on it. And my little, where does it go here? Boy, that fits on there tight. You can even hold this sideways way out like this, no problem. Because this case, the magnet is very strong. You gotta have to crack it sideways to get it off. Let's see what else we can do. Now I wanted to show real quick with this 128 gigabyte little mini SSD thumb drive, I can put 3 hours and 46 minutes on here. It's showing. Okay, let's take this a little bit further and go one more step. Lenses. Let's put some lenses on it. See how easy that is. So I have my ND filter on here that can just pop off in a half a second. Now I got to switch this plate out. Put this down here. This plate just slides this way and comes right out. Here's my 17 millimeter plate. And I'm going to add that on there. Gotta get this into the grooves just like that. And bingo, slide it on. Now I have my 17 millimeter plate. So I could grab a lens. Let's try the reflex 240 millimeter lens. And that should just screw right onto here. No problem. And there we have one lens mounted on it. Ready to shoot. Okay, set this down. I'm going to take this lens off. And this is this cinematic lens. And this is the 1.33. Take that off. I'm going to set this on here. Screw that right on there, just like that. And this has a little level on here. So when you're on a tripod or out shooting, you can look at the bubble level here to make sure that you're all level. So there we go. We built the whole entire setup. We put 2 different lenses on it. Now, what happens if I want to get my cell phone out of there and just get my cell phone back? Is it easy to take back out? Let's try it. Okay. Now, apparently, I can push this button here to unlock it. So let's try that. Yeah, it just pops back a little tab. And let's see if my phone will pop out. Doesn't seem to be wanting to. Maybe I've got to push it. Let me take this lens off. I don't think that really matters, but just in case. Oops. Oh, yeah, I can just push this right out of here. It fits very snug. Now it should pop right out, and there it is. I hope that didn't mess something up. Okay, we're still good. And there I have my phone. And since it's in this case that also has the lens mount, I can also mount lenses on the case and use them as well. Okay, with all this stuff here, what else can I mount on this cage? Well, I went and I found a light. I do have a small little light. And we do have this mounting spot right here, it looks like. So let's mount a light. So there, we could mount a light. Now we need this in there to make us nice and secure. One other thing I wanted to show on the case is it has 2 points right here and here where you could attach like a strap. So you could have the camera or the cell phone hanging on you around a strap, or maybe have a wrist strap, because you've got these 2 points of connection to be able to do that. So everyone, I hope you liked this video. I put together and built the SmallRig cage into this awesome setup right here. Yeah. And I'll see you next time. All right.